Hello guys, welcome to the video. This video stems from a request on Reddit to see people's homes in Valheim. Although I usually do Rocket League content, this is actually the second Valheim video on the channel. My second video at all was Valheim. That video showcased all the naturally occurring homes and ruined homes in the game. There will be some similarities between the two, but it won't be a direct overlap. This will not be a masterclass in super ornate mega homes. I'll focus on ideas for survival players that are reasonably resource efficient, but not at the total expense of showing you some ideas that look nice as well. I will make some basic assumptions of skill, like you already know the different hoe functions so that you can properly level the ground. There will be sections where I'm building in the background while I talk, but this will be more focused on showing some different homes as opposed to showing you how to build them all from scratch. Some of these would take forever to do that. Now, to kick this off, we all know that the first thing that you can do to get some ideas is go online, go on Google, and search for Viking homes, Viking houses, Norse houses, etc. And a lot of these things that you're going to find are going to look like the prefab homes inside the game. One thing you'll definitely find when you search that is difficult to replicate in the game is going to be the Viking round home. Round homes are just harder to do with the building style in this game. Round is a difficult shape in here. One thing that won't match up very well with Valheim is that the Vikings did build round homes without chimneys. The thatch would allow the smoke to rise out of it slowly. Although the thatch homes did get a bit smoky, it didn't actually hit the dangerous levels of smoke like you do in Valheim. The fires that they used to cook in real life was sometimes smaller than the campfires that we see in the game. Now, I've talked about realism for a second, but let's also sit back and enjoy the fact that this is a game and appreciate that we can do whatever the heck we want to. The game gives us a lot of fun tools to build with that weren't very Viking, because Vikings didn't build castles. They're just fun to make. Let's not forget that. It's a game, have some fun. Now, I'm going to kick this off by showing you something that you don't generally want to do, and that's building a two-story building with a very short ceiling. The ceiling for the first floor is only going to be 2 meters tall. That's the height of the character. Note how bad the camera looks when you go through it. But it is still useful. I built this type of house for a mining camp where I just wanted to mine and have a place to sleep to make it day. Worked perfectly. Not ideal. Now, a useful tip that I'll pull from this house is that you don't have to have a chimney in your fire inside your house. You just have the fire nearby outside, and if you cover it with some roofing tiles, then it won't go out in the rain. Now I'm going to keep this house here and just build some other stuff around it, and it's going to give it a village feel. You don't have to build a mega house. You can have every player, if you're in a multi-person server, build their own house, make them feel like they did something, and then also have some communal areas, like maybe you want to keep your crafting stations and a workshop, and maybe have a separate building for storage. Then just wall it off and have a nice defended village. Something that will help you in your homes both aesthetically and functionally is building some windows in the home. You don't have to have some grand window or anything like that. You don't have to use shutters either. The big thing is that you want to strategically place them so that you get some light in from the outside and you can see without using a whole bunch of torches. You can make them by using different slants of roof, by having the lower slant of roof whenever you want to have a window, and then having the steeper slant of roof wherever you want to have a wall, and then just putting in a pillar to make it connect up and look nice if it's a little bit wider. I'll be showing a lot of builds, so it will show up in later homes. The shed that I showed in the village I was working on was based off of my main house. We had a storage area that was about the same height and was about the same width. It was a little cramped, but it got us through the Black Forest just fine. I'd recommend using signs to mark off what you put in the different chests. For example, you'll need a lot of room for wood and stone, whereas you can have specialty woods, or you can have monster parts, or food, or raw food. But something that you need to keep in mind when you build your first storage section is you probably need 4 times as much as you think you need by the end of the game. But you can always expand. You don't have to overbuild from the very beginning. Just leave room for expansion or know that you will need to do it later. When it comes to cooking stations, bear in mind that you have a lot of options there as well. You can build just a standalone small spot to cook and cover it with a roof so it doesn't go out during rain. You can build an entire smokehouse that's huge and have 15 different campfires in it. And it works. The big thing is that you just need to manage the smoke and make sure that you have enough exhaust available. If you're opting to go with the one house method of building, then make a nice fireplace for yourself. If you do go with the one house method, just bear in mind that you need to leave room for expansion because you always need more room than you think, and remember all the different functions that you need to put into this one space. I am currently playing a game with a friend, and we opted for the 1 megabase method for the 2 of us, and our first fireplace looked like a mead hall. We had a fermenter right next to the fireplace, and we also had a table set up. Immediately above our little tavern is our bed. That way, the benefits from having the table and the fire and everything else carries up to the floor above when we sleep, and having the beds just above us carries down whenever we're cooking or something to give us the full rest benefits. Now, obviously, no matter what you do need a fireplace close enough to your bed in order to sleep, but I recommend trying to make a place that is functionally compact, but feels like it's large. And one way to do this is to have fairly high ceilings. And that really gives you a dual benefit of both enjoying the feel of a large home, like it's huge and an accomplishment, while also helping your camera be easy to manage. Back to my home, it has the portal room in the middle floor, and one thing that you can do to help your portal room is to keep a list of all your portal names on a sign. That way you can deactivate some of them if they're not useful at the moment and reduce the number of portals in your house. Talking back on the first floor, we used to have our crafting area with the forge and the workbench on one side of the house next to an area that was for all of the storage, but we opted to add a very large section to the house and give it a stone floor and step up to that new area. If you want to make something feel special or larger, give it a step up into its place. And that really works with the front entrance to your house too. I also recommend always using gates, because doors you can get stuck on if there's an odd spot right in front of the door, and I just hate it. And again, it just gives you a more massive, large house feel that's just very satisfying. We did take the time to make a nice entrance, just because it wasn't that much in materials and not that much in time, and it looks nice, because you still want to feel proud of what you built. It's not all about efficiency, but efficiency is still very good. Our mega home does have a third floor to it, and it looks basically like an observation deck or an archery tower, and it was decent up until we expanded the walls. Now it's just a nifty looking spot. Something else that I like to do is hide crafting tables inside the walls of the house at various points. Like if you have an area where a wall is meeting a roof and there's that weird angle and it's not tall enough for you to walk in, throw a crafting table in there. Just turn it so that the tall side is going against the wall, and then throw a wall on the section that you can walk under. And boom, you have hidden crafting stations so you can build all around your base, and it limits mob spawns. Whenever you build your base, you want to put crafting tables where you can in order to prevent mobs from spawning inside your base. Build guard towers and build your crafting stations on the inside there. You can build what my friend and I call electrical boxes throughout your property. And what it is you wall off a crafting table and put a roof on it, and it's only one high, and it functions to keep mobs out, but it doesn't look as bad as just having crafting tables on the ground. That's also good for keeping them from getting damaged in rain. It's also really good to put crafting tables underneath staircases for the same result. So that's some ideas for your main mega base, but don't forget the importance of your outposts or the various small homes of a village. If you're building an outpost, don't underestimate the importance of a campfire. That'll warm you up, that will help you keep your stamina up, you can get a rest bonus at whatever your outpost is, and you can find your base a little bit more easily by using the light to guide you. And of course you can also use some torches to do this. From there, you want to make sure that your home has a treasure chest so that you can put anything that you can't teleport out using a standard portal. And you also want to put your portal inside the house so that it isn't exposed to anything that wants to punch it. If you happen to find a pre-existing home, those are great to start with. If you happen to find in the Black Forest some pre-existing stone structures, those can be hilarious to work with, because the width of the stone doesn't match up with wood very well. If you're still in the Bronze Age, you can't work with stone yet, and so the buildings don't match up very well and you get a super janky house. But don't be afraid of a janky house, it still works. If you're building something from scratch based on designs you've seen, try and blend some different designs together. I've tried using several different photos before and gotten great results with things that I've built. Now, I've been unsuccessful in replicating that house. It existed on a server that somebody else controlled and nobody has that file anymore. But using the blend of techniques just made something that felt almost uniquely mine. And I am just completely sure that nobody else in this world of 8 million plus Valheim players has made anything similar to it. Yeah. Now, when you're trying to build a house, do bear in mind the difference in heights that you get with different materials. So, standard wood doesn't build as high as core wood doesn't build as high as stone doesn't build as high as reinforced metal, and of course, building reinforced metal on stone actually is worse than building with just the reinforced beams. If you don't like the look of iron beams, and I certainly don't blame you there, you can put down the iron beams and then put core wood over the iron beams to give you the look that's a little bit more natural. Another popular design choice is to build on an island. Why build on an island? Because events don't work if mobs can't spawn in the area. So if you build on an island and have enough crafting tables, then a troll event or other ground-based animal events won't happen. I believe that drakes can still happen. If you do build in the ocean, remember that you need to elevate your place up by a log pole or so that if there's a storm, the waves don't come up into your house. Speaking of elevation, don't build at ground level in the swamp. It's disgusting and awful. Instead, build up against a tree that is not capable of being destroyed, so it won't be an ancient tree, it won't have a name, and it won't take damage if you axe it. If you use a hanging brazier, you can give yourself a fire. Or if you're feeling really special, you can put a campfire in a special part of a tree and then just cover it up so that it doesn't get put out by the rain. Swamp homes are pretty vulnerable, but they're also pretty darn cool. So we've gone over 10 minutes, and I've been showing things at high speeds and a whole lot of different builds that I've done. So this should be more than enough time for you to have seen a lot of different things, and hopefully you found something that maybe you're going to use. At a minimum, gotten some ideas on how to build that'll help you build in your own style. I hope you enjoyed this one, and hope to see you in the next one.